Okay, so let's set the scene. This is young Jesse Hutch, college years. He's studying outdoor tourism and business.
Right, not acting at all.
No, totally different world.
Right.
He's working as a whitewater raft guide up in eastern Canada, Ottawa River.
And not just casually, he was seriously trained, right? Certified in swiftwater rescue.
Oh yeah, the whole deal. Ice climbing, rock climbing, search and rescue, wilderness first aid. I mean, this guy knew the outdoors.
He sounds like someone who's very competent, very much in control of his environment, which is important context for what happens next.
Definitely. Acting wasn't even a thought, though apparently he liked movies, collected posters.
A typical young guy in that sense.
Yeah, so this particular day, it's beautiful, sunny, looks perfect. But, and this is key, the river's running really high.
High water means more power, more risk.
They're heading towards this rapid called the Colosseum.
Yeah.
Big one, known for 3 huge standing waves.
Sounds intense.
Jesse's guiding a 12-foot raft. It's full of guests. Another guide is there too. He's steering with a single paddle, giving verbal commands. Needs a lot of coordination.
Okay, so high stakes already, just navigating this rapid.
They hit that first wave, bam, water everywhere. And right away, things start to unravel.
Oh, well.
Guests lose their paddles, chaos. 2 people get tossed out.
Oh, wow.
And one of them, probably panicking, grabs onto Jesse's life jacket.
From behind.
Yeah, pulls him clean over the back of the raft. He manages to grab a foot strap, so he's hanging on.
Trying to get the person off him while the raft is just getting hammered by these waves.
Exactly. The raft is surfing, totally out of control, and he's trying to dislodge this person clinging to him.
What a nightmare scenario for a guide. Your training prepares you for a lot, but that's just chaos.
And this is where that critical decision comes in, the one that really kicks off this whole life-changing sequence. He feels himself getting pulled deeper.
He realizes the raft might capsize with everyone else.
Yeah. He figures the only way to maybe save the raft is for him to bail. He has to let go.
So he lets go of the foot strap, an intentional move to save the others.
Right. And instantly he's under the water, deep.
That moment of sacrifice, putting the guests first, unknowingly changed everything for him.
So he's underwater. He said his ears were hurting, feeling the pressure, but surprisingly, he was relatively calm at first.
Really? Even then?
Yeah, he even thought of this term they use, the green room. You know, when you're deep enough that the sunlight makes everything look green?
Huh? Almost like his training mindset was still trying to categorize the experience.
Maybe. But that didn't last long. He tried to swim, still holding his paddle, like ingrained instinct.
The guide instinct. Gotta hold on to your gear.
But he couldn't move. He described being tossed around like a rag doll, totally powerless against the river.
That must have been terrifying. Going from being the expert in control to having zero control.
Absolutely. And that led to another crucial moment. He realized fighting was useless.
What did he do?
He consciously decided to let go of the paddle, just release it.
Wow. Letting go of the tool, the symbol of his role.
Yeah. His thinking shifted. He decided to just relax his muscles, try to save oxygen, and wait. Hope the river would eventually spit him out.
That's a huge mental shift. From fighting to surrendering to the force.
But you know, biology takes over eventually. He started running out of air. That primal need to breathe just kicked in.
I can't even imagine. Your body's screaming for air.
He said his body was trying to inhale involuntarily, even though his mind knew it couldn't. A real internal battle.
It's just horrific.
And then his body just gave out. Water flooded into his lungs. He described it feeling like liquid concrete.
Oh, God. That's such a visceral description.
Yeah.
Heavy, suffocating.
He felt spasms, then his muscles just going dead.
The physical trauma must have been immense.
And right there, at the absolute lowest point physically, something shifted mentally, profoundly.
What happened?
He said he just knew, I'm done. Like, this is it. But immediately after that thought, he felt 100% peace. Total overwhelming peace. He completely surrendered to God, just calling out for help in his heart. Silently.
Wow. From absolute terror and physical failure to complete peace. That's remarkable. And a common thread in some NDE accounts.
That moment of surrender seems key, not just for survival, but for everything that came after.
And the time frame here is just staggering.
Get this. The estimate, pieced together later by the rescuers, was that he was underwater for somewhere between 11 and 22 minutes.
Wait, minutes?
Yeah.
11, that's medically impossible practically. Brain damage sets in after just 3 or 4 minutes without oxygen.
Exactly. It's utterly mind-blowing. That detail alone just screams that something beyond normal explanation happened.
It really frames the whole survival as miraculous, doesn't it? And must have cemented that feeling for him later.
Absolutely. So after he lost consciousness, he remembers hearing the water sounds fade, his heartbeat slowing, then stopping.
Complete silence.
Complete silence and darkness. He's very clear that he didn't experience seeing lights or tunnels or any of those phenomena some people report, just cessation.
Interesting. It shows how varied these experiences can be, not one standard narrative.
Then he has these really vague, blurry flashes. Being pulled into a raft, he remembered the color of the guests' life jackets, oddly specific.
A small detail surfaces.
Then blacking out again, seeing the roof of a vehicle, and then waking up, finally, inside a hospital pressure chamber.
A pressure chamber. Okay, that tells us something about the physical effects.
Right. The medical explanation was that the rapid descent, being forced down so deep they estimated over 15 feet, and then the rapid ascent when he was rescued, it completely messed up his eardrums and equilibrium.
Like getting the bends, almost, but from water pressure.
Sort of. The fluid in his inner ear that controls balance was severely disrupted. The pressure chamber helped stabilize that.
Okay, that makes sense. It shows how violent the underwater forces were.
And yet, the recovery itself was another part of the miracle. His lungs. Completely clear. He'd somehow expelled all that water.
After inhaling what felt like liquid concrete. Amazing.
His equilibrium eventually came back, eardrums weren't permanently damaged, he could breathe fine. The only tiny lasting thing is apparently a slightly bent breathing canal.
From the pressure.
Yeah, it affects his voice a little bit if he drinks really cold water. That's it.
Considering he was effectively dead underwater for potentially over 10 minutes, that's insignificant.
Totally insignificant. So looking back, Jesse sees this whole ordeal as this incredibly powerful lesson, a lesson in letting go.
Which, for someone who described himself as a control freak.
Exactly. He admitted he was naturally inclined to want to be in control. This experience just stripped that away completely. The river forced surrender, and in that surrender, he found peace and ultimately survival.
That peace he felt in that final moment seems like it carried through. It reshaped his perspective on control.
It absolutely did. And this is where the impact on his life path becomes undeniable. Just weeks after this happened.
Weeks. That's soon.
Yeah, still recovering, probably. Here's a radio ad. It's for a model search.
A model search. Completely out of left field based on his background.
Totally. But it was connected to 20th Century Fox movie posters, which apparently he used to collect as a kid. A tiny connection, maybe.
Interesting little link there.
And he felt this intense, overwhelming urge. A compulsion, really. He had to go to this thing.
Even though he had zero interest in modeling or acting before.
None whatsoever. It made no logical sense based on his life plan, his training, anything. But the feeling was so strong, he quit his job.
He quit his job to go to a model search based on a feeling. That's a massive leap.
That's the impact we're talking about. The near-death experience seems to have just shaken him loose from his old trajectory, opened him up to something completely different.
It's like it recalibrated his internal compass. Maybe made him trust intuition over logic in a way he never would have before.
That's exactly how he describes it. He felt it was God directing him, pointing him down this new path he'd have ignored before. And despite how crazy it seemed, he felt total peace about the decision.
That peace, again. The same peace he felt surrendering in the river seems to be guiding this decision.
It seems like it, and the story gets even more improbable. He goes to this model search. 2,500 people there.
Wow, long odds.
He was literally the last person they called back. And it was specifically for 20th Century Fox.
No way.
He ends up doing a cold reading a script with no preparation for a studio executive.
Having never acted before?
Never. But the executive saw something. Some kind of raw potential, maybe. And that was the start.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It validates that impulsive, illogical decision completely. The door just opened wide.
He talks a lot about trust and surrender now, looking back. That moment in the river, losing all control, it just fundamentally changed his willingness to follow these unexpected nudges, to trust a path that wasn't clear-cut.
And it wasn't just about passively accepting things. he actively engaged with the experience too, didn't he? He went back to the river.
Yeah, that's another powerful piece. He felt guided by his faith to actually go back and swim that same rapid, the Colosseum again.
Whoa, voluntarily.
Voluntarily, but this time with a full safety team present, obviously. He saw it as necessary, facing the fear, reclaiming something, perhaps, guided by that same sense of trust.
Confronting the trauma head on, but with this new framework of faith and surrender.
So the connection is just crystal clear. That near-death experience, that terrifying day on the Ottawa River.
It directly led to his entire acting career, a career he admits he never would have even considered otherwise.
It wasn't just surviving, it was being reborn onto a completely different track. The impact was total life redirection.
Yeah, this deep dive really shows how profoundly a brush with death can reshape everything. Your fears, your priorities, your willingness to take risks, guided by something other than logic.
Absolutely. So, as we wrap up, Jesse Hutch's story is just extraordinary. Both the survival against impossible odds and the radical, unexpected life change that followed.
It really makes you think. And perhaps a final thought for everyone listening. Have you ever felt a pull, maybe not as dramatic, but still strong, towards something unexpected in your own life?
A path that didn't make logical sense.
Exactly. What role did trust, or maybe letting go of control, play in how you responded? Is there a metaphorical rapid in your life you might need to approach with a different kind of mindset, maybe one of surrender?
Something to definitely ponder. If you want to follow Jesse Hutch's journey now, you can find him on Instagram.
And he's apparently doing more writing and producing too. There's even talk of a potential film based on this very experience we've discussed.
That would be something to see. So keep an eye out for that. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.